Welcome to the Radical Responsibility Revolution podcast. This is where we are transforming lives, inspiring you to reclaim your health, your wealth, and the power of your mind. Here we share actionable insights, inviting you to turn inwards and design your life of purpose and abundance. Welcome back, my loves, to another episode of Radical Responsibility Revolution. And buckle up, take your shoes off, because today we are going barefoot straight into the kind of truth most people spend a lifetime avoiding. My beautiful guest, Meg Gibson, is the definition of what I call a Phoenix woman. She built a powerhouse professional life while secretly carrying a level of pain most of us can barely name, let alone look at. And she's going to tell us about those things: sexual trauma, shame, silence. And it's really much more deep than that. Even divorce, we get so traumatized by it, but self doubt just etches into the bones of our identity. And it did so much with hers. And then one day she did the unthinkable. And this is the part that I love so much. She sat in that pain. She stopped running, numbing, excusing, and disguising. And she let the fire teach her who she truly is. And what emerged? Well, you see her beautiful face, a 60-year-old warrior woman, which I love warrior women, with more grace and truth and vulnerability and emotional intelligence than most leadership books even pretend to touch. This conversation is going to be raw, electric, and laced with the exact kind of radical responsibility that turns valleys into victory. So get ready, my babies, because Meg just isn't telling a story. She's going to show you how to reclaim your soul. And I am all about the soul. So I always start, Meg, with asking my guests, where are you today in this world? Not location wise, in your beingness. What is it that's juicing you up, giving you joy, and how are you serving us in the world?
At this time in my life, I am at peace and I am content where I am. I am
Oh,
not in a hustle and bustle of life. I am, I'm expecting and I'm open to the surprises that come to me every day.
yes.
And there are times the day can be scary
Hmm.
because I don't have control over it. There are days that I am very focused and I have an agenda of the things that I want to get done, and I do. But then the days where I have no idea of where I am or what I'm supposed to do, I have learned to sit in those days,
Hmm.
and I'm okay with that.
Hmm.
And the days that come when I don't know what to do and I'm feeling a little antsy about it, I may
Hmm.
cry, and I give myself permission to do that because it's an emotion. And it is an emotion that does not define me. I tell people all the time, usually when you cry, people try to comfort you to stop crying. But no one ever says stop laughing. So
Yes.
crying is very natural. I don't think crying is a weakness.
Hmm.
I believe crying is something very natural.
Hmm.
And so I cry. And for me, when I cry, I am releasing. I'm releasing something that is bottled up inside.
Hmm.
And once I shed those tears, it's like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
So
Wow.
I'm at peace right where I am at this moment. I'm past my judgment phase
Yeah.
of where I should be. I am past looking at Debbie and saying, wow, Debbie really has it together. When can I get there? I'm not there anymore. I'm not comparing my life to someone else.
Hmm.
I think that's the part of a woman that we look outside of ourselves and we look at other people and we start comparing ourselves. And I'm just not there. I may like what someone else has. I can go to a home or I could see a home, and that's a really nice home, or that's a really nice car. But my home is nice too. My car is nice. I can
Mhm.
appreciate what I have, and I can also appreciate what other people have without me beating myself up for
Yeah.
not having what
Hmm.
they have.
Yeah. Wow. That's so much to unpack. And honestly, Meg, we could stop the podcast and then have everybody just re-listen to that over and over and over on a loop. Because all of those things, I'm not sure whether or not it comes with age, the wisdom that you just shared, or we can get it integrated when we're young, because when we're young, there's just these conversations that we're having. We'll talk about where you were, but the things that you said that just struck me so deeply was you wake up expecting, and then also you didn't say expecting, but I say this as well. I'm expecting to be surprised, because when we live in that mystery, that beauty, that expectation that good is here, amazing things show up. And I know that you've gone through the gauntlet. I call it the hero's journey with the
Mhm,
dragons, the lions,
mhm.
tigers, bears, dragons, and a whole lot of other things
Yep.
to get to this sense of peace. And so, what I want to begin to share with this audience is Marie Forleo calls it compare Schlager. We're all drinking it, thinking,
Hmm.
oh, they have whatever. And we're comparing our insides to their outsides, and that
Right.
will never, ever get us anywhere. And so, you've reached this place of peace, and it doesn't mean also that nothing bad will ever happen. I think that's one of
Correct.
the things that gets so confusing when I talk about positivity or looking at everything's working in my favor. It certainly doesn't mean that shit doesn't happen. It doesn't. And so, what I want to do is take a trip down memory lane a little bit about
Hmm.
where you have been to achieve, or not achieve, because it's not an achievement, it's a revealing of the truth of who you are, this inner authenticity, because that to me is what we see when we're in that peaceness, when we feel that sense of confidence, but more importantly that this is my life and I love it and I'm
Hmm.
grateful for it, because those are the things that really resonated with what you shared. So let's start with this whole idea that you sat with this pain. So let's talk about this. I do want to go there because I shared a little bit on the intro, but your story is so profound. And I know that there are women that are going through something similar or they relate to the pain. And we are not taught that it's okay for us to feel our feelings and then
Hmm.
release them. You sat with that pain. That to me is one of the most profound things that I think I've ever heard a woman say. I sat with the pain, and that was the profoundness that came from this. So let's talk about your story and how that evolved and what that looked like for you to sit with that pain.
I'll say this, my story started way before what I told you.
Yeah, okay.
Um, when I was a lot younger,
Hmm.
my mom, my dad, and my brothers and sisters loved me. I'm the baby of my family. They loved me and they took
Hmm.
good care of me, and they still do. I have one brother left and one sister left, and my older brother, my older sister, and my mom and dad are gone. Very close-knit family. And my brother calls me every night,
Wow.
every single night. And he's in Miami, and there's 20 years between my brother and I. Yes. And my sister lives here in Charlotte with me, and she's like my real sister, but like growing up, she was like my mom's sister because of our
Hmm.
age differences. So I came from a very loving family. It probably was when I graduated high school and went to college. God, I had such a rough time. That was my first separation.
Hmm.
500 miles away from home. somewhere away from my mom that I could not get to.
Yeah.
It was, I didn't know, I couldn't find myself.
Mhm.
Everything was about me being up under my mom.
Yeah.
My parents were from the Bahamas. My older brother and sister were born there, and my mom used to call me a sucking fish. And my sister would call me that from time to time now. And that was the fish that would swim on the belly of a shark and eat off whatever was on the shark. That's how close
Oh.
I would be with my mom. And so the
Mm.
term sucking fish is from the Bahamas. My mother
Oh.
could go nowhere without me being right there. So being in college was really rough. I cried a lot. I missed home, but I knew I couldn't disappoint. I
Mm.
just knew that because everyone else had gone through that journey in my family. There was no failure. Not that it was ever spoken to me. I
Mm.
just felt it. So I learned how to mask it.
Yeah.
Okay. So in masking it, it just added anxiety for me.
Yeah. Pushed it right down.
Yep. And I had to figure out how to make it work. So there was what? Academic warning, couple
Mm.
semesters of academic warning, couple semesters of academic suspension until finally it came the academic dismissal.
Mm.
Now, how am I going to tell my mom and dad this? And my dad paid for all of my education out of pocket. So then I had to put the mask on.
Mhm.
Well, dad, classes are going to be at the community college. So you got to write the check out to the community college so I could take my classes. Luckily, I only needed 6 classes to get my AA degree, and the school would readmit me because I'd have my AA degree. So I was one semester behind.
Mm.
So I did those classes at the community college, transferred back into my university, and no one ever knew. Not my mom, not my dad, brothers and sisters never knew.
Oh,
It
you're
wasn't,
kidding. You did that on the DL?
yep.
Oh my gosh.
My
Okay. Well,
sister, my sister just found out probably 5 years into us moving to Charlotte. Okay. We had been in Charlotte for 24 years,
wow.
25, probably 20, in the high 20s, Debbie.
So you
Okay.
carried that secret for a long
Oh,
time.
yeah. Oh,
So
yeah.
that had to be sort of the beginning of some other secrets, yeah?
Hmm. Oh, I wore a
Mm-hmm.
big mask.
Yeah.
My sister would look at me when I told this story. She was like, huh?
Huh?
So that was the first. One thing about me, I always took care of myself first. And because of that, people I thought I was close with thought me taking care of myself first, I was selfish. So I lost 2 very good friends
Oh.
because I took care of myself. I received handwritten letters, scathing letters about my integrity, about my character, and how
Really?
selfish I was.
From a friend.
Hmm. And
This is before the internet. It probably could have been
oh yeah,
worse.
oh yeah, they were lengthy letters.
Yeah.
And I just said, okay.
Wow.
I didn't try to go after them. I didn't try to look for an explanation. I did not try to understand. They both were in my wedding, and I was like, okay, I have always done that. I've always taken care of me first.
Mm-hmm.
So I get married to my middle school sweetheart. We grew up in a church together.
A
We
good
get a
churchgoer, man.
divorce. Yeah, it's going to be good. It
Yeah.
wasn't, but
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna prolong that too much. I get a divorce. I'm lying in bed one night watching television, and all of a sudden I get this smell. And I'm like, what the heck is happening? And it becomes very overpowering. And it was the smell of sex. And I'm in bed by myself watching TV.
Wow.
And then I had a flashback and being in my parents' home in the back bedroom on a bed with the rust-colored bedspread. And my brother, not my brother, oh my God, never. My cousin
Mm-hmm.
was touching me.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed in the fetal position for a very long time. I didn't know where it came from. I made no rhyme or reason of it. I didn't understand it. I kept trying to put the pieces together and I couldn't because I didn't know where it came from, but the memory was so strong. It would not go away. So that was probably in 1994.
So what do
I,
you think in hindsight was the trigger for you to have that repressed memory then? When you were divorced, you were obviously in a sort of benign situation watching television. What do you have any memory or sense around what, because I know that there's plenty of women out there that have repressed these memories,
mm-hmm,
and for our own safety. Our unconscious does that for us.
mm-hmm.
And yet there's always something that could have triggered that. Do you have any sense idea what that might have been in that moment?
I don't.
Yeah.
When I was married, I wanted to go to counseling and he did not. So I went and
So
I
you've been in
enjoy
counseling?
going.
Yeah.
And I went and I loved going to her because she reminded me of my mom.
Oh, wow.
So it was a really great experience. The funny thing of all of this is that my first job in Miami was in probation and parole services and all kind of offenders I was working with, but I had a specialized caseload of sex offenders.
I know you told me that on the pre-call. That is crazy.
And I loved working with them.
Yeah.
They went to counseling, I went to counseling with them. And at no point did any of this come up.
Right.
It was not until I went through my divorce. This is probably 90. My divorce was in 96.
Hmm.
So 97-ish is when the memories started coming back. I'm thinking I had stopped working with sex offenders probably a couple years earlier.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking the divorce may have had something to do with it.
Yeah. Or maybe you just felt safe. Finally, your unconscious had gone through so much working with sex offenders, having a little therapy, being in a relationship, and then stepping out of it. I don't know. I mean,
Right,
I
right.
like to sometimes put a puzzle piece together. And yet, and everybody's going to be different when they do have those memories.
Yeah.
And yet, I think sometimes it's because we feel safe enough to have it because it is a
Mm-hmm.
protection thing. Our unconscious just says we're
Yep.
not prepared in any particular moment prior to that.
Right.
So you have this memory, and then what do
That I
you
keep
do?
to myself.
Oh, again.
Again, I keep it to myself. No one will know this ever. I think the first
Wow.
person I actually told was my priest, and I begged
Hmm.
him not to mention it to anyone in my family.
Hmm.
Not my sister, not my brothers. Uh, just let's keep it to ourselves. And
Why
he
did you
honored
feel
that
that you wanted to keep that a secret? Do you know?
because I didn't know how to talk. I
Hmm.
lost my voice.
Mm.
Um, I could not speak about it without crying.
Oh, well, that's a good reason.
I I just didn't know, how do you say this? How
Yeah.
do you have this conversation?
Mhm.
And I loved my cousin.
Mm.
I This was someone I loved. I and I didn't know how to tell it. I didn't know how to tell the story.
Mhm. Mhm.
So it was very difficult for me. And all my sister knew when we moved to Charlotte is that my sister is crying a lot. And that was
Mhm.
some very deep rooted pain there. And I masked it by I went away to school. I went away. I left all my friends in Miami and I moved to Charlotte and I didn't have any friends here.
Mhm.
Uh and but in masking that it was just difficult. But once again, that was another mask on.
Yet you excelled in business.
Yes, my professional life was awesome.
But isn't that
I
what
was,
we as women do?
yep,
We put on our armor,
yep,
literally, and we go and we do the things that we feel that we are supposed to do. So
right.
speak to that about how you masked it, but you were just shoving it down. You never allowed it to come up and be visible, be in the
Never,
light. Yeah.
never. Like I said, every time I tried to talk about it, I just fall out in tears. My self-esteem was really low. I didn't think um, I was worthy of
Hmm.
anything. Um, why would anybody ever care about me? Just the whole gamut of low
Yeah,
self-esteem, lack of confidence in my personal life.
sure.
In my professional life, Meg was blowing up.
Yeah.
You know, Meg walked high, head held high, put me in front of a classroom, and I was going to rock it.
Hmm.
And then I remember driving to work with tears falling out of my eyes, fixing my face, walking in that building, and no one ever knew.
Right. Do you think that we as women do this? We try to outrun it because if you keep focusing on this business aspect and this excelling that we do, we're going so
Hmm.
fast in that direction, we don't have to look at this other.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. So I get married a second time, and that husband brings two children.
Mm.
It's like, okay. So I became a mom. I loved it, and it was really good. Then the mom of the two children, the children wanted to go back to be with their mom, totally
Hmm.
understandable. And then he started behaving in a way that he says he was unhappy. Well, what are you unhappy about? And it was, I'm ashamed to be seen with you in public.
Really?
I'm like, okay,
Now, how did that though hit you? That has to land in such a way that it's triggering that self-esteem that you were hiding from. It has to have just felt like running into a Mack truck.
it did.
Yeah.
It did. Um, I came home from work one day and there was a gym bag. That gym bag was
Mm.
always in the same spot
Hmm.
every day, all day. I walked back and forth from that gym bag. I never bothered it, except that day.
Hmm.
Something said, look in that bag.
Oh.
I looked in that bag and there was a receipt for a washer and dryer. I was like,
Hmm.
I don't have a washer and dryer. We didn't get a new washer and dryer. And then I saw an address. It's like, well, it definitely didn't come here. And then I saw a lease for an apartment that
Mm.
matched the washer and dryer. And then I saw a car key. So I called him on the phone and I said, he was driving my car. I said, "Can you please bring my car home? And I need you to call someone and tell them to come get you because you're not staying here tonight."
Mm.
And by the time he got here, I had all of his stuff downstairs because he wasn't coming back in the house.
How
And
did you
that,
get that? How did you get that confidence, that courage to do that?
I was tired.
Okay.
I was tired. I was tired.
Because there's a
Um,
lot of women, Meg, that would just let that go and let that go and deny the fact that it was even happening.
I could have.
Yeah.
I could have. I, no one knew. No one knew at work and no one knew it in my family. No one knew in my circle of friends. In North Carolina, you have to be separated for a year before you could file.
Good Lord.
Tell me about it. I, um,
Archaic laws.
that was the pain I decided to sit in.
Mm. So
So
tell us
no,
what that looks like.
I hit the proverbial brick wall. I
Yeah.
hit it. It was on every side of me. It was under my feet and it was on top of my head. I could not move.
Hmm.
I had no place to go. And at that point, I decided I would not have any quick fixes. I made a conscious choice not to fix it fast.
How do you think, though, that you got that insight? Because I think this is the most important part for women to hear is that we have to pause in order to know what's next. And you did, you barreled through a lot of it up until that point. What do you think was the spark for you that said, I am going to sit with this. I am not going to make a quick decision because we want to get into a fix it mode.
Hmm.
That's not what's going to help, but that's where we want to go.
Pain. I didn't want to feel the pain anymore.
Hmm.
I knew that I was in a relationship that I should not have been in.
Hmm.
And I knew I was in a relationship I shouldn't have been in, but I wasn't going to leave.
Mm. Yep.
And I, it was right there in front of me.
Yeah.
The car key, the lease,
Hmm. Yeah.
the insurance, it was all there.
Yeah. And it's hard to be in denial when you have all those receipts, as
Yep,
the Gen Zs tell us now. You need a receipt for everything, I mean, in life.
exactly.
But yeah,
I
you
had
had
'em-
those
I had the
receipts.
receipts.
They were right there in the gym bag. Yeah.
And even when I told him to bring the car and he could go sleep at his place, he laughed it off. Oh, Meg, what are you talking about?
Exactly. If you didn't have the receipts, that is a very common experience for women,
Hmm.
is that this individual, this partner will lie and deny.
And
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 we believe.
and he said I gave him the address. And that was the point. He
He knew that jig was up.
and I took the key and hid it. I took the
Mm-hmm.
key to the car and I hid it.
Mm-hmm.
So he came and he got all of his stuff except for that key. I have no idea what you're talking about because it was my turn to play the game.
Mm.
But that was the pain I sat in.
Yeah.
And it was 6 months before I told anyone. And when I mentioned it to my girlfriends, and these are the girlfriends that I had in Miami, they were here in a week.
So there's another example of how I'm going to say that there was shame around this. That's
Mm-hmm.
why you didn't tell them. And
Mm-hmm.
that is the thing that will trip us up faster than anything is the shame, which is a man-made, not man, human-made emotion. It's not one
Mm-hmm.
of the true emotions on the emotion wheel. And
Right.
yet, how do you now reflect on that you did take a while to say it because of the shame, but they just came to your not rescue, but to your side in
Mm-hmm.
that quick. way, how did that then impact how you look at that now going forward when you come to these places, these intersections in life where we need to ask for help? Because that's really what that is. You said, I take care of myself in the very beginning. And that is just another one of those experiences or
Mm-hmm.
examples of how we don't ask for help. Even though you had this beautiful, loving family, you kept all of it inside.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not asking for help. And this is what we as women do. We think we can
Right.
just do it all. So, how has
Right.
that impacted your life now since that point that you can do that more easily?
I learn how to nurture those relationships
Mm-hmm.
that are important to me. And I still struggle with that.
Mm-hmm.
So my friends will tease me. They'll text and say, "Are you still alive?" Just say yes.
Oh,
So I still, I'm an introvert.
yeah.
And so I'll text back yes. So I still, I still enjoy being with self.
Yes.
Um, and when I'm head down in something, whether I'm writing curriculum or figuring out a program for a client, I'm doing that.
Sure.
So I take time for myself and I do separate myself, but it's not because I'm feeling anything negative.
Oh,
Um,
I understand that. Yeah. I had a woman on, she's, I forget what her modality is, but we were talking about introverts. And I think there's a misunderstanding about what an introvert is because I just recently, based on Myers-Briggs, learned that I'm an
hmm
introvert. And people say, you're not an introvert, you're an extrovert, just because I can stand on a stage and speak. And it's the way that we recalibrate,
hmm
right? And you said something very specific. I like to be in my space alone. I feel
hmm
like it's in human design, it's called the cave. My home is my sanctuary, and this is my space where I regenerate because I might be very extroverted. That's not my nature. It is to come
Right,
and be that way. So I think sometimes just hearing you say that and hearing other people share about them being an introvert helps other women who have friends that are introverts, they may be too, but that they don't judge us because we want to be recharging alone. It doesn't mean
right,
that we're unsociable. It's
right,
just how we regroup, if you will. So I
right,
think that's really good to hear so that people can understand that it isn't about how you show up in the world, it's how you re-energize yourself,
right.
which is brilliant because it's
And the
so,
same thing
so
with me,
important.
Debbie. When people see me, say, on stage giving a speech or in front of the class doing a training, and the minute I say I'm an introvert,
They're like,
no,
sure,
you aren't.
liar. Yeah,
It's like, yes, I
I
am.
am.
And it's like I can stand up in 100 any amount of people.
Mm-hmm.
I can
Yep.
stand up and I can deliver.
Yep.
But after that, I want to be by myself. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's important for me to be by myself. And it's
Yep.
it's funny because people who really know me and they know when I'm around a lot of people, they just look at me and say, "You need to go in your cave, huh?" And I'm like, "Uh-huh."
Yeah.
And
And
it's important.
it is important, and I hope that, just by virtue of the fact that we're bringing this topic up and that you share it and I share it and other women share it, that it will become more understood that
hmm
this is simply what we're doing. We aren't trying to be non-sociable or any conversation like that. It's just really about let me have my energy
That's
restored
it.
because
That's it.
especially if you're a speaker, you give a lot of it out. And so
hmm
I got to bring it back.
Yep.
So, speaking of bringing it back, I love the story about you speaking for the first time when you told your story without crying because it has so many layers to it. So I'm going to let you share the story. I don't want to tee it up too much, but it just has so much resonance
hmm
for everybody to hear. So share that for us.
So as I mentioned before, I was getting to the point where I was trying to tell the story of my
Hmm.
sexual abuse,
Right.
and I would always cry,
Yeah.
and and I was I was bringing it out further and further to just try to say it. So I was
Right.
teaching this class in criminology, and the students always wanted to go into profiling. I want to
Mhm.
learn how to profile, and I would teach them. I said, well, you can't profile someone else until you learn how to profile yourself. So
Mhm.
they went through various exercises, learning themselves first. I need you to understand who you are. And they had different types of activities, just paying attention to their patterns, their symptoms, their habits. And so one day we were in class and I had a film. Maya Angelou was in it, and it was called
Mm.
The Evil Within. And it was a documentary, and she was talking and talked about the evil within her that put her in a place where she didn't speak for a very long time as a child. And Maya had been sexually abused. I had, to be honest, I had no idea what this film was going to say. I didn't feel like teaching that day. I just went and pulled it and said, okay, they're going to watch this and I'll figure it out later.
Mhm. I love
Um,
that.
and that was the joy of who I was as an instructor. It was like I can make up a lesson plan in a
Yep.
heartbeat. That
Yep.
was a big part of my creative energy. And
Mhm.
so she's speaking, and I'm like, okay. So, what I want you to do is go back, think about who you are as a person, and I want you to write about something that has happened in your life that stops you from being the best version of you,
Mhm.
what you've experienced. And I'm in a classroom of about 25 people,
Mhm.
and they're all looking at me like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Exactly.
And I'm like, are you doing the best that you can do in your life? I'm still getting crickets.
Mhm.
They're like, can you give us an example? I sure can. And I paused and I'm like, okay, how is this going to land with them?
Mhm.
And that was the first time, the very first time I told that story of my situation
Mhm.
in front of a classroom of students
Mhm.
that I was sexually abused, and I did not cry.
Yeah.
It was at that very moment I realized it didn't own me anymore,
Yeah.
that
And
I
that's a
did it.
cathartic thing to have done that. And I love this whole notion, though, that you were when you talk about crying, I really resonate with that because, as I said, my mom was that. She's still to this day, and it makes other people uncomfortable. It has nothing to do with us when people say don't cry. And the deeper the wound, this is my philosophy, the deeper the wound, the more tears will have to come out
Mhm,
because this is an emotional release. And so you processed it, and how interesting is it that there were these other places that people might perceive as being safe for you to tell the story,
mhm,
and you had processed it enough that you said it in front of 25 more or less strangers,
mhm.
and yet it had this amazing cathartic effect. And you knew in that moment that it didn't own you anymore, which is just so
Exactly,
beautiful. And it is,
exactly.
this is the one thing that's so important about us telling our stories, whether it's in a group of 25 people or finding that safe place, whoever
Yeah,
that is for us, because
yeah,
it's the stories that we have to get out when we hold them in. They are not going to benefit us. That's where the destruction happens, is keeping them inside. And I love the fact that these kids got to experience that. And then you shared with me on the pre-call that they were crying. So what a
yeah,
beautiful experience.
yeah. And it taught me several things. First, I realized that I had given it away.
Mhm.
It no longer belonged to me. I'd
Right.
given it away. And once they wrote their papers and they turned them in, and I'm home reading these papers, the first time I did it, I'm sitting in my bed reading and crying my eyes out because of what, and they weren't all young people because we were at a community college. So we
Yeah.
had people returning back to school. They had families. They had not shared what they were experiencing.
Mhm.
And I just realized how powerful it was for them to write it as well.
Exactly.
You don't necessarily give a person an F when they're pouring their heart out,
Oh no.
you know?
Yeah.
So it just made me realize the trust they had with me
Hmm.
to talk about it. So everyone received, of course, an A, but I made sure to write something
Yeah.
to each and every one of them to to encourage them.
Yeah. I think that's so beautiful because, Brene Brown talks about being vulnerable.
Hmm.
And this is truly when you gave them permission, and what a gift for you to be able to do that given your experiences, but you gave them permission to be vulnerable as well.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I have to only imagine that that is now poured over into your work with clients because you have that ability to hold that space for someone. And to
yeah,
me, that is such a gift to be
yeah,
able to do that for somebody else because it gives them permission to dive deep into that place. That's the only thing that keeps us from flourishing is holding on to all of these old wounds. And I just think that is so magical that you were able to do that. And now you're able to do that with your clients and with your
hmm,
business. So share
hmm.
about that. I know you have this personal development journal that
Yes,
you can share with the audience. So let's
yeah.
talk about that and how this works in with what you're doing with people today.
Okay, so one thing my sister and I always laugh that we are perpetual learners.
Yes,
We're going to
absolutely.
learn all the time as much as
Hmm.
possible.
Yep.
And I am really big on being a better person.
Yes.
I always try to find something. It's going to be a book, it's going to be an article, something that makes me think. I can always become better than or learn what do I need to tweak. So in 2024, I'm like, if I had something, what would it be? What would I like it to be that
Hmm.
would help me
Yeah.
work through some things?
Hmm.
And so I started working on a personal journal.
Hmm.
And it was focused on if someone wanted to have an opportunity to work through various topics that will come to them to help them become better and not rushed.
Yep.
Have the opportunity to just sit.
Yep.
Sit with what you're experiencing.
Hmm.
You don't have to rush it. It's not a day, it's not a month. It's the time you need.
Yep.
It's not based on a week, whatever you need.
Yeah.
And I think when a lot of times when we buy journals and then it's numbered, we feel,
Hmm.
oh, I got to get this done because I'm behind.
Right.
Um, and then once we get behind, if anybody's like me, once I miss a day or a month, oh well, I'll just try again next year. There's no need of me
It's like
finishing it now.
it's like being on a diet, right?
Yeah,
And you eat a pastry and you think I'm done for the day, and then that turns into your
it's
week.
like
Yeah.
so I just wanted something where people had the opportunity to just dig into who they are.
Hmm.
Excuse me. And what would I like? What was
Hmm.
important for me to share with other people? And I released it in a digital format because I'm trying to save trees.
Yep.
But I wanted it where people would be able to take it and really be intentional for their development. That was important. Want them to
Yep.
be intentional about their development and take the time.
Hmm.
And so it's interesting. My business name is True Choices.
Mm.
And True choices for me meant exactly that. Are you ready to make true choices for yourself?
Right.
When I first started with my business, all I did was life coaching.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I really enjoyed that.
Mm-hmm.
But I quickly learned that I was an empath. So it once my clients started coming to me, I took on their problems a little bit too
Yeah.
much.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized I needed to back away from it until I figured out how I was going to do it. So I do life coaching, but
Mm-hmm.
I also bring that business side of me as well. So I do executive coaching. And
Mm-hmm.
then there is the training and development and leadership development.
Mm-hmm.
That also comes into this whole package of me.
Yeah.
And I enjoy what I do. I enjoy working with women. I think the most important thing that I enjoy with, right, I really enjoy is helping women understand that they are a brand.
Mm-hmm. So share about that a little
Okay.
bit because I think I know what you're saying, and there's a lot of women that are like, "What is she talking about?" So
So
share what you mean by that.
a lot of people think that they are what they work.
Oh yeah.
And and I found out that if you ask someone who are
Mm-hmm.
they immediately tell you what they do.
Absolutely. It's your
And I have to
identity.
correct them. I did not
Mm-hmm.
ask you what you do. I asked you
Mm-hmm.
who you are.
Right.
And it never fails. They're stumped.
Mm-hmm.
And so I always ask people, tell me who you are and take away any status that you have. You're not a wife. You're not a mother. You're not a sister, an aunt, or any other status. And tell me who you are. Because once you strip all of that away,
Who are
get
you?
to the essence of your
Yep.
soul.
Yep.
And so it requires someone to really get to the essence of their soul
Mm-hmm.
to understand who they are. And it's a process. And that process means taking the time to get to know you,
Right. And that's
yourself.
so important for women, especially in leadership or
Yes.
executive positions, because if you don't know who you are, how the hell can you lead somebody else? That's always been my question. And I
Yep.
love how this circles back to the conversation from the very first question is, who are you today? And you said expecting, surprise, at
Mhm.
peace, because those are the qualities that you're just as we put this in a nice little bow, that's it.
Yep.
Because that is the way to share who you are. That is the brilliance. That is the energy that I just feel
Hmm.
every time we've talked. It's so, it just, you feel safe to be in your presence. And
Yep.
I know that all of that that has happened to bring you to this spot, to be that space, you do that for all of these other brilliant women and men on the planet. So that is what a gift. That's fantastic. And so your personal development journal is on, I'll put it in the show notes for a link. In I don't know if I have a website, so I'm going to edit this part out. You just send that to me later. And put that in the
Okay.
show notes, okay? And so what I want to do is we're running up to the hour. I want to wrap this up a little bit. So for the woman who's listening, who's hiding,
Hmm.
who's keeping secrets and praying that nobody sees her pain, and it's now your future self because she's even wiser than where you are right now. So put
Hmm.
yourself in your future self's shoes. What would she tell that woman today? Not you as a young woman, the women that are here now, the Gen Zs, the Xers that are still struggling. What sage wisdom would you give to them?
Love yourself.
Mhm.
Appreciate yourself. The very last thing, listen to your heart.
Mhm.
Learn to speak your truth. and let go of your outcomes.
Mhm.
And if
I
you
love
can
that.
truly do that,
Mhm.
you will see a difference
Yeah.
in how you move and how you live.
Yeah. And what a great place to start is with that journal to those
Mm-hmm.
very things. How am I? And then what those beautiful wisdom pieces were, those little pearls of wisdom, because that's really truly what it is. And I
Yeah.
love the idea that you have come to such a place of peace and knowingness of who you are. That is where I believe we all have set out to go to because we came on this planet and our brains leaked out with the remembering of the truth of who we are. So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to thank you so much for sharing your beautiful energy, your stories. And I know that there are so many women that are listening to this that can appreciate and feel that resonance for themselves and will take a step that they may not have taken prior to hearing your story. So thank you so
I
much for,
I thank you. I'm always amazed when people find me,
yeah.
and I don't take that as chance.
Oh, no.
And I think I asked you, how did you find me? And
Yeah.
I always, in the back of my mind, it's like, why did you find
Mm-hmm.
me?
Mm-hmm.
And so the first time we spoke, you've been on my mind since then because I'm still asking the question, why?
Hmm.
And I may not get an answer, but what I do know that people cross my path for a
Mm-hmm.
reason,
Yeah.
and I accept it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
So I
truly
thank you
believe,
as well.
yeah, I'm so it's my pleasure. I believe that we are all here for we we connect with people for a season or a lifetime, and
Hmm.
that there's no accidents,
No,
and that we were placed by this universal consciousness, God, whatever we want to call it, because it's just a word, and that it's going to show up and impact people in a way that we don't even know, because we are
exactly.
here on this journey together
Yes.
in this beautiful thing called the third rock from the sun, and we are here supporting each other, and just the energy that you have brought to this global consciousness, to me, I know that it ripples out. It rippled out into
Hmm.
my zone over here, and I found you. So I as you said, I just accept it. I bless it.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for it, and then I just let it be. And then what you shared in the beginning is you just expect, and then the surprise.
Yeah.
So we don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen, but it's going to be surprising and it's going to be magical.
Yeah.
So I don't call me the queen of
Yeah.
magic for no reason.
I remember real quick, Debbie. I remember one time uh someone said, well, I'm expecting this and I'm expecting that and I expect this. And I said, what would happen if you didn't have any expectations and you just lived?
Yeah.
I said, it sounds like you're so busy waiting on
Yeah.
expectations to happen
Hmm.
that you're
Hmm.
missing out on the joy and the surprise of it happening.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, you
I'm
have to have
expecting,
that
yeah, I'm
expectation.
expecting joy and happiness and surprise and fulfillment and everything working out in my favor. Those are different expectations than,
Yeah.
I'm expecting a Range Rover.
Slow
Meg, it's been
down,
an
slow down.
absolute. I don't need a Range Rover. I
No,
saw
I
the film
mean,
poster.
for everyone else that
Oh, slow
says that,
down.
slow
Yeah.
down. Something will come to you. Don't rush it.
The beauty is already here. It's already right here. So
Yeah.
I thank you so much. And it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, it
So
has been.
namaste.
Thank you so much.